Chairwoman Flaherty, members of the Board of Trustees, thank you. Thank you for the trust and confidence you have invested in me by inviting me to serve as the president of this magnificent university. I can think of no greater honor or privilege than to lead Johns Hopkins. On this day, I commit to you, without reservation, that I will work tirelessly to champion our great cause. Presidents Muller, Richardson, and Brody, our university is much stronger because of your leadership, and I stand here as a grateful and humble beneficiary of the numerous legacies you have bequeathed to Johns Hopkins. Thank you. To the many public leaders, delegates, faculty, staff, students, friends, and family gathered in Shriver Hall, you grace us with your presence today, and I am touched to see so many of you here. Almost 10 months ago to this day, the trustees of this great university elected me their 14th president. At that time, I acknowledged that I had a lot to learn about our university, its governance, its research, educational and clinical activities, its organizational structure, its people, and its finances. And I committed to learning the institution in all of these dimensions. But at the time, I also committed to do something more. I committed to learning the university's common values and history, its collective yearnings and dreams, its soul. Over the last several months, the soul of the university has manifested itself to me, slowly, steadily, in fragments small and large, and then finally in a rich and vivid tapestry that shimmers with optimism and imagination. I have seen the soul of Johns Hopkins in the gleam of so many different colleagues' eyes as they describe their passionate pursuit of knowledge. I've seen the soul of Johns Hopkins in the palpable excitement that emanates from a cluster of students who have just been exposed to some new insight, some new idea in our seminar rooms, our laboratories, our clinics, and our rehearsal studios. I've seen the soul of Johns Hopkins in the expressions of gratitude that come so often and so movingly from patients and their families whose futures, whose very lives have been dramatically, almost miraculously improved through the work of our physicians and nurses. And I have most definitely seen it and felt it, the soul of Johns Hopkins, as it reverberates through Homewood Field when the Blue Jays have once again unceremoniously dispatched a rival. The soul of Johns Hopkins was defined as its creation. It is not, I believe, merely coincidental that our university, America's first research university, was born on the eve of the young nation's centennial. That means from its inception, Johns Hopkins was inextricably linked to the extraordinary experiment that was and is America. Like the country of which it is part, our university was inspired by a European experience. But it is also true that our university's first president, Daniel Coit-Gilman, and the university's first trustees did not simply transplant the European model into the soil of Baltimore without more. Rather, they interpreted it, they enriched it, and they embellished it. They consecrated our university with the values that were distinctly American: can-do pragmatism, boundless optimism, lofty ambition, and brave daring. The result was a new and stirring model for higher education. Even Harvard's president, Charles Eliot, acknowledged that his own graduate school did not thrive until the example of Johns Hopkins, and that was true of every other university in the land. Our history shows that our commitment to bold experimentation did not pass with our founding. It is in our DNA, and at the core of who we are. Just look at a snippet of our record. It is at our university that the modern era of medical education and patient care was introduced by Dean William Henry Welch, and by that great Canadian, William Osler. You knew I had to get that in. It is at our university that the world's first school of public health was conceived and then given magnificent expression. It is at our university that the earliest academic programs in biomedical engineering were forged across two sponsoring schools. It is at our university that the seminar was first adopted into our curriculum, which, for the first time in America, imbued the humanities and the social sciences with the rigor of original research and peer evaluation. And it is, as was mentioned earlier, at our university that the proximity fuse was perfected, the innovation that helped turn the tide of the World War II in the Allies' favor. Now, proud as we are of our magnificent past, our best days are yet to come. When President Gilman delivered his inaugural address on that glorious day 133 years ago, he spoke about the merchant Johns Hopkins gift, at the time the largest philanthropic bequest in U.S. history. He addressed the expectations that people would naturally have of the university. He said, "It should make the authorities cautious in offering and the public cautious in demanding a completed scheme for the establishment of a university in Baltimore." It was a profound statement. It recognized that the university was not yet complete. The university was not yet perfect. Even 133 years later, this is still the case. This is not an admission of vulnerability or of failure. Rather, it is an expression of our bond to each other and to the world beyond that we must progress. This progress must be predicated on a foundation of sustained and searching self-assessment to see if we are succeeding in those areas that matter most. If we are not, to determine what we need to do. Otherwise, we resign ourselves to the tyranny of complacency that is the insidious foe of excellence. Can we do better? Can we be better? Daily, in one form or another, we ask these questions of ourselves and of each other. We ask this of our faculty who seek to strengthen our research and teaching programs. We ask this of our deans, health system president, directors, and chairs who labor to discern our most compelling priorities and then, in concert with others, to give them full expression. We ask this of our staff who provide critical professional support to all of our efforts. We ask this of our students, undergraduate, graduate, and professional, as they work to master our chosen disciplines. We ask it of our friends and alumni whom we hope to enlist in our noble mission. And so, it is only fair that today you ask of me, where and how will I work with you to make our university better? The second part is indeed easier than the first. The president's role at Johns Hopkins is not to supply pat solutions to our most demanding challenges. Rather, it is to convene the conversation that allows us to shape our destiny in a way that manifests appreciation of our most sacred ideals: mutual respect, openness, and a devotion to rigorous debate and analysis. And when this conversation has taken place, to ensure that we act responsibly, respectfully, and vigorously on the conclusions we draw. This is the how. As for the question of where we ought to focus, I unabashedly confess I do not offer today, or nor will I likely ever offer, a detailed blueprint. Instead, what I offer are 3 areas that I believe are worthy of our university's earnest engagement. First, our effectiveness in nurturing an environment that supports and celebrates individual achievement. Second, the strength of our identity as one coherent university. And third, our commitment to the communities of which we are part. Let me start with a simple idea. At the core of our university stands the individual. It is our duty to craft an environment that attracts the most talented faculty, staff, and students. Once they are here, we must ensure that they can fully realize their promise. For our faculty, this means the creation of an atmosphere in which they regard Johns Hopkins as simply the best place in the world to pursue discovery, not just at the start of a career, but throughout. It means that we should expect our faculty not just to contribute to the great contemporary debates, but to define them. For our staff, this means a workplace that is supportive and welcoming, respects and recognizes their achievements and contributions, and provides meaningful opportunities for professional development. As with our faculty, it means that we should expect our staff to strive for excellence in their numerous contributions to our endeavors. And for our students, this means unparalleled opportunities for intellectual growth and achievement. We have made great strides in strengthening our undergraduate and graduate student experience. To this end, we must strive to provide an even fuller and even richer academic and extracurricular experience that is commensurate with our commitment to providing each of our students with the opportunity to realize their full potential. We must also have an admissions and financial aid program that ensures that student participation in our community is governed by the ideals of merit and not by the accident of privilege. Under the inspired leadership of President Emeritus Brody, we broke new ground with the Baltimore Scholars Program, which provides full tuition scholarships to undergraduate students from the Baltimore City school system. But as hard as we have worked, there is still more, indeed much more, for us all to do before we can be confident that the promise of equal opportunity for students of equal merit is realized in our university. In the near future, I hope to be able to honor the ideals that lie at the very core of this university by being able to declare that Johns Hopkins will join the pantheon of great universities whose undergraduate programs are need-blind and not need-aware. And to complete our commitment, we need to go further, doubling and redoubling our efforts for financial aid support for our graduate and professional students throughout the university. This is an issue that has special resonance for me. I am the son of an immigrant father. Without the transformative opportunities that higher education afforded him and his siblings, my future, the future of my siblings and cousins, would have been starkly different. Now, while we think about the role of each and every individual, so too must we consider the status of the university as a whole. Johns Hopkins has been built on a foundation of great schools. Our decentralized system of governance rightly encourages each of our schools to pursue academic priorities that are tailored to local needs and interests, and this has served us very well. Without the dynamism and creativity that decentralization affords, I doubt that our university could have accomplished a fraction of what it has. But while acknowledging this record of sterling achievement, there is no denying that our identity as a university, as one university, has not received the same encouragement and succor. The sum of our university must be greater than its constituent parts. We must knit together a university identity, a shared vision of Johns Hopkins that draws upon and enriches the identity of each of our schools, the health system, and the applied physics laboratory. As academic leaders, it is our duty to respond to the deeply felt need on the part of our faculty, researchers, and students to foster the collaborations that respect the discipline of the disciplines, but nevertheless allow our colleagues easier access to the ideas and energies that course through our multiple campuses in the United States and abroad. Finally, in discharging all of our various roles, we must not lose sight of the multiple communities of which we are part. Johns Hopkins is not only at Baltimore. Johns Hopkins is not only in Baltimore, but in word and in deed, Johns Hopkins is truly and proudly of Baltimore. This commitment to community is manifest in so many different and profound ways, in the role that our faculty, students, and staff play in our public school system, and the many contributions that our schools and health system have made to address the pressing health needs of our city, and the energy and financial resources we have invested in the very ambitious and worthy project that is aimed at restoring our city's east side as a safe, prosperous, and vibrant community. But there's more we can do and that we must do. We are an island of earned privilege in a sea of pressing need. Our ideas, our energies, our passion and optimism can contribute so much to the community of which we are part. How we galvanize our intellectual and moral strengths for the betterment of our community and for the betterment of ourselves stands as yet another compelling challenge that we must address. And in rising to this challenge, let us not forget that we are not only of one community, but of many. While others have only recently awakened to the wrenching disparities of health, education, civil and political liberties that mark the developing world, our university has long understood these challenges and has worked tirelessly and imaginatively to address them in many of the least advantaged countries. But there is still so much more for us to do. Recall President Gilman's evocative words, "Cautious in offering, cautious in demanding. This is our precious legacy." But our university has never been cautious about learning, about innovating, about sharing, about healing, about discovering. And that, my friends, is the soul of our university. Thank you.